G'day team, I'm Matt and welcome back to CEW.Manufacturing. Today we're going to talk about making a nail press punch in order to make perforated foam for infusion projects.
So this design is based on one described by Zeke Smith in his book Advanced Composite Techniques. I think his design would be a little bit more robust than mine, but the concept and operation is the same. I highly recommend this book to people if you want to learn about making composite parts. It's very well written and rather useful. I have to admit that I've owned this book for more than a decade and only read it for the first time last year. I'm not affiliated with Zeke in any way, but it's a good book and you should have a read.
These are the materials we're going to start from. Total cost is less than about $25 Australian from our local hardware store. There's a couple of nails, they're 50mm long by 2mm wide, a 16mm dowel. We have handles, just the cheapest I could find. These are nickel coated brass or something, $3 a pop. A single sheet of plywood that measures 400mm by 1.2 meters. I've already cut that down to size and laminated 2 sheets together for the baseboard, and you'll see that shortly. And then we have just a set of screws for assembly. Not much to it, but it should be a bit of a fun build. I don't like working harder than I have to, so I'm just going to use my CNC mill to make the holes. There's about 184 holes per piece, and there's 2 pieces that require holes of this size in them. And there's a third piece that requires a couple of routed out bits. I'll just set up a quick jig. I've used a couple of little scrap location bugs just to make a XY location. I have a bit of spoil board underneath, which is actually going to become the top board, but I can drill into it, so that's okay. And then I have the piece I'm working on. This here is the nail carrier underneath the top part, so these two will be actually sandwiched together in the end. And then, yeah, so we'll put these together like this, push them up against the jig, and clamp it down. Our 3 main pieces are now machined, including one wonderful little error up the back here, which just means we're not going to have any nails to pierce in that little section. I'll hurry up to drill those holes out, but it's still 140 less holes I'll have to drill. So the pieces we're looking at is the nail support board. It's drilled with 1.5mm holes, take 2mm nails. I'll have to tap each one through. And then we have the backing board, so you can see I've just used that as a spoil board for machining everything else. And that'll sit on top of the nail support board like this, with the nails through it to sandwich them in place. Over here we have our stripper board that it provides a constant pressure on the foam core, so we can withdraw the nails back out without ripping the foam with it. All these pieces have been given a light sand. I'm not painting them, it's just a workshop tool. So let's get on to putting the nails in. Yeah. So all the nailing's done. Some of you may have realised that I don't really have a good technique with a hammer, so I wasted a few nails, and also it turns out that my 3mm holes, which were in the bottom plate, oh sorry, the stripper plate, are a little bit too tight, so they're going back onto the mill and they're going to be bored out a little bit larger. And I've gone through and tried to straighten up a heap of the nails that are a little bit bent. In hindsight, I probably should have just worked out some kind of nail gun mechanism for the mill and had fun that way, but yeah, do what you do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this plate and we're going to bond it to the backing plate. I've prepared a couple of these little dowels that we can use just to align them. So we'll have one in this corner and one in the diagonal corner as alignment pins, just using a normal PVA wood glue, nothing fancy. And then we'll put the handles on and we'll use that to clamp it, and then we'll clamp around the edges as well. And let's see how this goes. I don't do wood stuff normally, so I'm new to all this, but I think it's the same principles. Healthy quantity of glue. Committed. Press. Okay. That's those two. We stand this up. Alright, everything's now here. We have the stripper plate. We have our nail board completely assembled. I've straightened a few of the nails out. I've also made the holes in the stripper plate bigger, so they're now 5mm instead of the original 3. On the back here, we've got these two handles. Once again, they're the cheapest ones I could get from our local store. And you can see here, I've actually put some screws through. I got bored of waiting for it to dry with clamps, so I actually just threw some screws through it and then angle ground the back off them. It's a thing for me, it's not for anyone else, and I want to get it done today. So I figured, why wait for the glue to dry? Let's just get it going. So these parts over here, these will be the handles. They'll sit through the holes like this, in orientation, and they go across there. So let's do the final assembly now. So you want a piece of carpet that you can have as a support membrane so that the nails can go through without damaging the nails and blunting them over time. You want your foam. In this case, this is a 75 kilograms per meter cube polyurethane expanded foam. And it's about nominally 7mm thick, but it's an offcut, so it's got a bit of variation in the thickness on the way through. We have our press. We just push it down on top and then apply some force to it. She pushes through. To get it to release, you just grab the two handles, squeeze them together, and it comes off, and it pushes the foam off. And we get left with wonderful Swiss cheese foam ready for infusion.